The Dudley Jazz Festival returns this year on Saturday, July 28th at Mary Hannon Playground. And to tell us about the event and the lineup is one of the organizers as well as one of the performers, Fred Woodard. Thank you very much for being with us, Fred.
Glad to be here.
Fred, first of all, for people who have not been to one of these before, what's it going to be like out there? I said this is at a playground, but fill that in a bit.
Okay, well, part of it is a playground. The rest is a very big field. So it's going to be a festival where there'll be 4 bands performing, and there'll be some vendors there selling clothes and jewelry and that sort of thing. But the main focus is going to be on the music. This year we have not only people from Boston that are performing, but also people that are no longer live in Boston, but they're associated with Boston in some way.
And I know one of these is saxophone player, tenor sax player, Ricky Ford. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Ricky Ford, his connection to Boston is the fact that he was born and raised here, and also attended New England Conservatory, and for some time taught at Brandeis University. And he, on his own as a leader, he's recorded about 21 albums, and has played with a lot of the jazz greats such as Freddie Hubbard, Charles Mingus, McCoy Tyner, people of that sort, and also has recorded with some of them as well. Most notably, his first first major gig was with the Duke Ellington Orchestra, shortly after Duke passed away. So at that point, Mercer Ellington was leading the orchestra.
And I heard that you mentioned McCoy Tyner, so when I heard the clip and he's playing sax, I'm thinking a little bit of Coltrane in the way, too.
Oh, yes, yes. Just about any modern tenor saxophonist has to go through Coltrane to be, cutting edge.
And you have a vocalist, Lydia Harrell, and she straddles some categories here, jazz,
she
soul,
does,
even a
yes.
Bob Marley tribute behind her, too.
Yeah, she's a very, of course, soulful singer, and also has won some awards with regard to her vocal capabilities. Most notably, she won the Duke Ellington vocal competition in 2015, and also the Mid-Atlantic Festival competition as well. So that she's been noted for her vocal abilities in that way. Also around this area, the New England, Boston area, she performs about 150 shows per year, not only with her group, but also with many others. So that kind of highlights her versatility as a vocalist.
This is being the news. We're talking with Fred Woodard, organizer of the Dudley Jazz Festival. Fred, another performer who's in this lineup is someone you know from your own studies at Berkeley. So tell me a little bit about Monty Croft.
Yes, Monty Croft will be performing in the festival, performing as a vibraphonist. That's his primary instrument, although he plays several other instruments. He plays drums, piano, he sings, he plays guitar and bass and harmonica. But on this particular program, he'll be playing vibraphone and be playing jazz. Also, he's very versatile in terms of the different genres that he can play in. He's recorded with a whole host of well-known jazz artists such as Branford Marsalis, Terrence Blanchard, Nicholas Payton, and also has performed with some R&B folks such as Gladys Knight, Ray Parker Jr., and he spent some time playing with a well-known 70s band called the Average White Band. And he's done some hip-hop stuff also with P. Diddy, or maybe also known as Puff Daddy as well. So he's done quite a bit of different things in the 35-year span that he's been living in New York City.
And of course, there's the Fred Woodard Collective.
Yes, that's my group.
You're on guitar, and tell us a bit about the rest of them.
Okay, I'm playing guitar, my son is playing violin, and he just recently turned 21. And we have Akili Jamal Haynes on bass. He's another multi-instrumentalist, plays even more instruments than Monty Croft, not only playing all the rhythm sections, instruments such as bass, piano, drums, he plays trombone, trumpet, saxophone, and sings as well. And the other person that's playing is a former student of mine, Matthew Williams, the drummer, and he's born and raised in Boston, lives in Mattapan, and he's another one that plays very often with a lot of various styles of music.
Now that sounds like an unusual combination for jazz, especially the guitar, violin, but for people who haven't been exposed to that, how's it going to strike them, you think?
Well, I think it'll strike them as very interesting in that my son's approach to the instrument, in my opinion, and many others' opinion, is a very unique style. He's sounds very very bluesy, and of course the jazz influences there as well. But he has a really good feeling for jazz, whereas a lot of classical trained violinists aren't quite good at adapting themselves to the feeling of jazz. They may have the technical ability, but they're usually lacking in the jazz feel, the swing, and so forth, and the blues. So you'll be surprised as far as the sounds that he can get out of the instrument. And he's been, noted by a lot of greats as being a very talented player.
Now, I'm sure you and the other musicians, you probably have these experiences in the past playing in clubs, and you get the usual people who go to clubs. But here, you're out in this park, it's a free concert. Do you do something different?
I try to appeal to the audience somewhat. That is, be engaging in a way that the common man or woman or child can relate to. So a lot of my emphasis, without dumbing down the music, is very rhythmic in terms of I may adapt a different style of music to a jazz format. A lot of times I'm playing the traditional swing feel, but sometimes I'll inject like a calypso feel or an R&B feel, and also I may do some early jazz things, like some New Orleans flavored things. So I try to mix it up in a way that keeps the audience, engaged and very, just simply paying attention, I guess. Because sometimes people tend to kind of drift off if there's too much of the same thing happening. Yeah.
For people who are younger and they know some pop music, they know hip hop, they may say, what does jazz have to do with that?
Well, jazz is part of the African American spectrum of music, so it has its roots in work songs, spirituals, blues, and everything kind of follows a certain lineage. And I think what ties it all together is the blues. Even if you're talking about hip hop is kind of a modern version of the blues in a way. Folks are talking about their experiences. There's a heavy groove. There's usually something always in the various African American styles that is very rhythmic, and that kind of ties it all together. Plus the bluesy side of it ties them all together. So I think if a performer kind of keeps those elements within their performance, usually they can relate to the common man.
It will strike a chord. You should mention this is going to be on the 28th, and exactly what time and location again?
Okay, it's going to be on the 28th of July, and it's going to be from 12 noon till 6 p.m. And it's going to be located at the Mary Hannon Park, or also known as the Mary Hannon Playground. And that official address of that particular playground is 613 Dudley Street in Dorchester. And if it rains, that if it's pouring down rain, it'll be held at the bowling building, and that's in Dudley, near Dudley Station, and that's 2300 Washington Street in Roxbury. So if it does rain, that's where we'll have it. But hopefully it won't rain.
And you've got a website where people can get these details, right?
Oh yeah, they can go to creativeculturalarts.org, and they can get additional information. That is, they can read up on who's performing and the location and contact information if they have any other questions. And I also want to stress that this is a free event, and I wanted to really emphasize that so that folks can just feel like they can just come on, they can, sit down and just enjoy the music and not have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to do so.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Okay.
Fred Woodard for the Dudley Jazz Fest. We'll have more news in just a moment.